72, and the gods of generation, page 130. Sacrifices of both human and animals were believed to release the powers embodied within them, and so make the fields or forests productive where the sacrifices had taken place. Many ancient fertility rites have persisted in modified forms into modern times. The maypole dance derives from spring rituals glorifying the phallus. The maypole is a phallic symbol. It represents the penis, and they are dancing around it with long ribbons just in a big circle back and forth, stimulating the phallics. It's crazy. It gets a lot deeper. I got these sources from phallic worship and fertility rites from the encyclopedia.com. You can look it up if you want to. The obelisk. I'm going to start with the obelisk. This first symbol. Pronounced as obelisk, a slender, four-sided, tapering monument, usually hewn of a single great piece of stone, terminating in a point or pyramid at the top. Among the ancient Egyptians, these monoliths were commonly of red granite from Sinene and were dedicated to the sun god. The obelisk is dedicated to the sun god. They were placed in pairs before the temples, in front of the temples, on either side of the portal, meaning the doorway. The greatest number erected in any one place was in Heliopolis. But eventually almost every temple entrance was flanked by a pair of them. Down each of the four faces, each side of the obelisk, in most cases, ran a line of deeply incised hieroglyphs and representations setting forth the names and titles of the pharaoh. The cap on the pyramidation was sometimes sheathed with copper or other metal. Obelisks of colossal size were first raised in the 12th dynasty. Of those still standing in Egypt, one remains at Heliopolis and two at Al-Karnak, one from the time of Tutmosis I and of the Queen Hashput from Egypt, notably one of the reigns of Ramses II from Luxor, now in the Place de la Concorde, Paris, and Cleopatra's Needles in London and New York. I got pictures of all those for you to check out. Others are in Rome and Florence in the United States, two familiar structures of obelisks. Formed, though not monoliths, are the Washington and the Bunker Hill monuments. That's from encyclopedia.com. These monuments are also known as sun rays. They're also known as Baal shaft. If you read the scriptures, then you know that Baal was an ancient pagan deity, and this is his phallus that they have in Washington, D.C. I have one Luciferian author writes that the lingam, or the male phallus, was an upright pillar. This comes from W. Wynne Scott. It's from his book Numbers, Their Occult Power and Mystic Virtues, Theological Publishing Society. Egyptians also created the obelisk, believing that the spirit of the sun god Ra dwelt in there. And that's from H.L. Hayward, Symbolic Masonry, an interpretation of the 3 degrees, Washington, D.C., Masonic Service Association of the United States. Both these Masonic authors admit that these pillars of the obelisk were used to represent sex. You can find this, if you want to know what's going on, read what the Satanists believe. Read Madame Blavatsky. See what Aleister Crowley is saying, Anton LaVey. See, what's funny is, they know who they worship. They know who they worship, and they laugh at Christians because they don't know who they worshiping. You're worshiping Satan. You are following. You are doing the same exact thing that they are doing, and you don't know what you're doing. And I'm not saying this to make anybody mad. I'm gonna give you the information. You look it up, and you know, make your own decision. This is from a book called The Illustrated Encyclopedia of Traditional Symbols. I'm going to list all the books at the beginning of this video, so you can pick them up if you want to. This is actually a pretty good book on symbols. It goes into like the ancient symbols. About the obelisk, it says it's a male, the obelisk, it says it's a phallic, male generative power, fertility, regeneration, stabilizing force. It is also an axis mundi and a tree of life. Tree of life, huh? A ritual world center, a finger of the sun, In Egypt, it denotes Ra, the ray of the sun, solar generative power. The word, okay, now check this out. In the Bible, the Hebrews were always going on worshiping other gods. And it never quite tells you what those images were. In the King James, it's kind of hidden. Check this out. The word matzbah in Hebrew means standing images or obelisk, and it can be found in many places of the Bible. Here is Strong's definition of the Hebrew word matzbah, Hebrews 46:76. 46:76, Hebrews 46:76. Something stationed, i.e. a column or memorial stone, biannual. That's what that represents. An idol, garrison, a standing image, or a pillar. In the following verses, matzah has been translated as images. Exodus 23:24. I'm going to give you a few examples, but it can be found in more places. Exodus 23:24. Thou shalt not bow down to their gods, nor serve them, nor do after their works, but thou shalt utterly overthrow them and break down their images, pillars. Exodus 34:13. But ye shall destroy their altars, break their images, and cut down their groves, break their obelisks. Leviticus 26:1. You shall make you no idols, no graven image, near rear you up a standing image. Neither shall you set up any image of stone in your land, to bow down unto it. For I am Yah, your mighty one. Seems like the Hebrews was doing, see, the whole thing about the scriptures, the same thing then, the same thing now. Everything that happened then is happening right now. And I know you saying, well, I don't worship no obelisk. I ain't never seen no obelisk. You know, I don't be seeing no obelisk nowhere. Let me keep reading. Shaman, Kamon, is Hebrews 25:53. Hebrews 25:53 is Kamon. From Hebrews 25:35, a sun pillar. Sun pillar, that's what I just read about obelisk, right? Idol image. Shaman is also translated as simply images in the King James. It's funny because the other versions actually call it a sun pillar, call it exactly what it is. Isaiah, see, if they would have put this in the King James, a whole lot more people would know what to be looking out for. It's a reason that they translated it images. Isaiah 17:8. And he shall not look to the altars, the works of his hands, neither shall respect that which his fingers have made, either the groves or the images. Groves, high places. Groves is like a wooded area with no underbrush. It's just like, you know, wooded area. Either the groves or the images. And it's funny, I'm going to post some pictures and show you how they put these groves right in front of you. And you probably see it and say, well, why they got the trees out there? They just want some wooded area out there, I guess. No, they're showing you it's a grove, and they're showing you who their God is. But we're going to get to that. Isaiah 27:9. By this, therefore, shall the iniquity of Jacob be purged, and this is all the fruit to take away his sin. When he maketh all the stones of the altar as chalk stones that are beaten in asunder, the groves and the images shall not stand up. Sun pillars. Second Chronicles 34:4. And they break down the altars of Baalim in his presence, and the images that were on high above them he cut down, and the groves and the carved images and the molten images he brake in pieces. These are all sun pillars. And made the dust of them, and strode it up upon the graves of them that had sacrificed unto them. And I'm going to show you the pictures right here of obelisk right in the center of the Vatican Square. Remember I read that they put the obelisk on the side of the gateway. It's usually right in front of the gateway. Well, it's right in the Vatican Square before you enter into the Vatican. This is right in front of the gateway. And they actually placed the grove around it. And we had billions of people out there celebrating the Pope in the grove with the sun pillar, worshiping a penis or a phallic. This is from Come Out of Her, My People. This is actually a pretty good reference book. I like this book. It crushes a lot of these pagan things, and I'm going to use it consistently throughout this as it fits. And hopefully you get an understanding of it. This is not Christian hating. This is Christianity killing. Christianity is a wicked religion. And you're gonna see it for it's all said and done. Obelisk. The well-known point obelisks or sun pillars of Egypt are found in the scriptures in the Hebrew words matzpah, which I just read, and hamanium. The former word is best translated as pillars or as sun pillars, and the latter